Revenge films.
Back then, I was still in high school. My family was just my mom, my two younger brothers who were in elementary school, and me. When I was in middle school, my dad cheated on my mom and disappeared. Ever since, my mom had been raising us on her own. But it's not like she had a college degree or anything, so the best she could do was part-time jobs. Even so, she'd leave for work early in the morning, come home in the evening to make us dinner, and then head out again for a night shift that lasted until late. When I got to high school, I started working part-time too to help out. But even then, things were rough. After pushing herself for years without rest, my mom eventually collapsed from exhaustion. Once we lost her income, we had to survive on government support and whatever I could make from my part-time job. We were basically living in poverty. I couldn't afford to buy anything for myself, my shoes were falling apart, and all my stuff was worn out. There was this guy in my class who loved to make fun of me for it. He and his group of friends were total jerks.
Hey, you're eating just bread and milk again? Oh, right, guess that's all you can afford.
He'd laugh. He was one of the popular kids, the kind everyone called part of the in crowd. He'd always use me as the punchline to his jokes. He'd say things like,
"Hey, Dan, we're all going to karaoke later. Wanna come? Oh, wait, never mind. You're broke, right?"
Then he'd laugh with his buddies. But the truth was, yes, I was broke, and I didn't have time for stuff like that anyway. Between paying for my mom's hospital bills and taking care of my hungry little brothers, every spare second I had went to working. I lost all my friends. Honestly, I wanted to quit school so many times, but with Mom in the hospital, I knew I had to at least graduate high school, even if college wasn't an option. So I kept pushing through school alone, working part-time every chance I got. But during my second year, right before our class trip, that same jerk came up to me with a smug grin on his face.
Hey, the class trip's coming up soon, but you're not going, right? I mean, you're broke, aren't you? Actually, why are you even still coming to school? What's the point? If you can't even afford the tuition, you should just drop out already.
I had held it together until then, but that day something inside me broke. I couldn't take it anymore, and I dropped out of school. After that, I told my mom the truth. I started working even more shifts. My mom cried and blamed herself. But honestly, once I quit, it felt like a weight had lifted. I could finally just focus on surviving. From then on, I threw myself into work. It wasn't easy, but I met some truly kind people along the way, and just like that, 10 years passed. Then one day, my family told me a postcard had arrived for me. It was an invitation to a class reunion. Even though I never graduated, they'd still sent one to me. Something about it felt off, like there was an ulterior motive, but I figured, why not go? It had been a long time. When I showed up at the izakaya pub that night, the moment I stepped inside, guess who came rushing over with that same fake energy?
Yo, long time no see, Dan. How have you been?
It was that jerk again, still acting way too familiar after 10 years. Then he said, laughing like he always did,
"I was worried about you, man. I mean, you dropped out 'cause you were poor, right? I thought maybe you died in some ditch or something. Oh, hey, you got money for tonight? If not, I can cover you."
And just like that, I realized that 10 years had passed, but this guy hadn't changed a bit. Not one bit. The guys who used to hang around that jerk were still close with him, apparently. They chimed in and laughed right along with him, just like old times. But then, someone cut in.
Wait, wasn't Dan on TV recently?
The whole room paused. The jerk scoffed and waved it off, and he was like,
What? Him? No way, you're joking.
but the girl who'd spoken pulled out her phone and showed us the photo, and there I was. The jerk leaned in to look, and his face froze, and he was asking why I was on the TV. So I just smiled and told him what I do now. After I dropped out of high school, I started working part-time at a construction company. That's where I discovered my passion for building houses. I started reading books and teaching myself everything I could about architecture and design. One day, the company president pulled me aside. He told me he saw potential in me and that I should aim to get my high school equivalency and go for an architect license, even if it took time. It sounded amazing, but I told him it was impossible. I didn't have that kind of money. He just laughed and said, "Pay me back when you make it," and he covered everything. So I studied while I worked. Bit by bit, I earned my architect license. As I took on more projects, ideas started coming to me, and I found real joy in creating things. My work started getting noticed. Eventually, I even got commissions from overseas. Hearing all that, the jerk went pale. He looked like he couldn't believe a word of it. Then more former classmates chimed in, and they were like, "I saw you on TV too. I'm actually looking to buy a house right now." And they started gathering around me. Looking frustrated, the jerk suddenly snapped.
So what if you can design a house? You're still just a broke loser. Once poor, always poor. I work for a major company, Psychic Corp. Ever heard of it?
Just as he finished shouting that, the door to the izakaya pub opened, and in walked a new customer. The moment the jerk saw the man's face, all the color drained from his own.
Sir? I mean, President?
The man, clearly the company president, gave the jerk a brief nod and then turned toward me with a big smile. "Ah, Dan, how's your father doing? And I heard your wife's expecting soon. Congratulations! Also, I've been following your success in the US. Sounds like you're doing amazing work." The jerk's eyes darted back and forth between me and the president. He was completely panicking. Sensing what was going on, the president kindly explained it to the room. As it turns out, my wife is the daughter of the company president who once helped me. I met her while I was working hard to earn my qualifications. And this president, the one from Psychic Corp, is an old family friend of my father-in-law. He'd even visited their house several times. So, through my father-in-law, he already knew a bit about my background and what I'd overcome. He deeply respected that I had risen up from hardship, never giving up on life, and managed to find success through determination and effort. When the jerk heard that I'd not only become independent from my father-in-law's company, but that my wife and I had now relocated to the US and were receiving international commissions, he was left completely speechless, mouth wide open, frozen. In other words, I wasn't poor anymore, not even close. After giving a quick explanation, the president said, "Didn't mean to interrupt your reunion," and headed to a private room in the back. The jerk just sat there in shock, his soul seemingly having left his body. He stayed like that, totally hollow, until the reunion ended. After the reunion ended, I heard from another classmate sometime later that the jerk really was working at that major company, but apparently he was always at the bottom of the performance rankings, and there were even rumors he was on the chopping block for layoffs. In fact, he had a fiancée at one point too, but she ended things, saying she couldn't marry someone with such an uncertain future. After that, his little posse started drifting away, and now he's pretty much isolated. So, yeah, he tried to come at me, flex, and make me the laughingstock after 10 years, and ended up destroying himself instead. Classic. A lot happened over those 10 years. My father-in-law, the man who supported me, even covered my mom's hospital bills at one point. Thanks to him, she made a full recovery and is doing well now. Back then, my little brothers were still kids, but they worked hard in school so they wouldn't be a burden on me. In the end, they both earned scholarships, graduated from college, found great jobs, and started their own families. Even after my wife and I relocated to the U.S., I kept sending money home to Mom. These days my brothers do too. She tells me she's fine on her own now and doesn't need the support anymore. But the three of us all feel the same. We just want to give back to the woman who gave everything for us. We won't stop, even though it kind of overwhelms her. Then, about 6 months after the reunion, I heard a rumor. Apparently, that jerk who mocked me so hard that night got laid off from his job not long after. They even kicked him out of the company apartment. He's been applying to other places, but nothing's worked out so far. From what I heard, he's living in a rundown apartment now, scraping by with part-time gigs. Who would have thought his life would end up like that? Back then, none of us could have seen it coming, but that's life, isn't it? You just never know where the road will take you.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.